get rid of it.
Oh, yeah, I think I'm recording.
Good.
Okay.
That's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
I had I phoned Denise up today,
Yeah.
but she was in hospital because she had an operation today, apparently.
That's right. She did.
Yeah.
She did say she couldn't make tonight because she was having surgery today.
Yeah, so she should be.
About 2 days before her operation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she'd give her a ring in a couple of days' time.
yeah.
Brian's not doing very good.
No,
No.
no, he's quite poorly, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've got another entry coming in. Jim, yeah. Hi, Jim.
Good evening.
Hi,
Evening, Jim.
Evening.
Jim.
And Jim.
Are you on, John?
Yeah, I'm here now. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Good. That's good.
Oh, that
Are
looks Dave.
we all set then, Colin?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out for anybody else coming in, but I think we've got most of people now.
Okay.
So, ready to start, Max, or?
Okay. Yeah.
If anyone else.
Just one or two things before I get started. The Wimborne Club are using Zoom, and they've been trying to improve their picture quality when showing films. So John Wilcox has apparently been investigating the situation, and he's come up with one or two things. The first one is make sure you test your internet speed to make sure that you're up to scratch and you're not losing anything internally in your own rooms. The Wimborne Club have also posted a demo film, which presumably tells you what quality you ought to be getting. It must describe it and must describe some settings. Because he said in the next one, you can alter your settings on Zoom as suggested in the notes. So you click on the Zoom icon like Barry just did, click your own identity logo at the top right hand of the screen, and that will open your account settings, and you can adjust things in your account settings.
Right.
Terry has tried it over there, and he's adjusted his settings a bit, and he said the results are nigh on perfection. So that sounds good news.
Mm.
So maybe there's a few things that we could do. What I will have to do with the Wimborne is to find out a little bit more about this. I haven't had time to go into this demo film or anything, but if we can learn anything from it, we'll pass it on at our next meeting, or even before if it's relevant.
Well, I got the same email and I couldn't get any sense out of it.
Couldn't you?
I couldn't film or whatever.
Well, we'll put our heads together, Dave, and see if we can come up with something.
Yeah.
If all else fails, we'll contact
John Wilcox.
yeah, well, no, we'll contact the Wimborne Club.
Yeah.
And find out what we should be doing. Okay, that's that one out of the way. The second one, as Dave knows, and maybe one or two others, I really resolved to get a later editing program because I'm still only on Pinnacle 15. And I'd done a bit of research, and I got almost all the way ready to almost press the button and buy Pinnacle 24 when I saw the Wimborne Club again have sent us on their emails a copy of SOCO News. And reading down through SOCO News, there is a little bit of interest there. And it says, just be careful with your editing systems, and if you're happy with what you've got, make sure you disable the system for updating these editing systems, because a lot of the suppliers of these systems are turning a bit nasty. As follows: there's a company called Filmora, and they work with Pinnacle. I think they supply a free copy of Pinnacle. But what Filmora have done, if you've got your Pinnacle through them, is that they've gone all through your films and they arrange that they've watermarked them so that they're really not pleasurable to watch anymore. They watermark them unless you pay for the next update version of Pinnacle. So you could lose all your work you've done over the years in your archives. Now, I think that's a bit nasty for a start.
It is a bit nasty.
Pinnacle, it says, Pinnacle themselves and many more have stopped the ability to import AVC HD. Now, AVC HD is used by Sony and Panasonic. So as soon as I read that, and I got a Sony camera, I thought, well, I can't buy Pinnacle 24 if they've taken that ability to use AVC HD off. So, and the chap writing the article said you'll need to get a converter.
Oh,
Now, my experience of converters, once you start converting from this format to that format, you start getting little jiggles and artifacts and all sorts of funny things creeping. I might be wrong, but there's always a good possibility. Anyway, there is yet another editing program that's done away with MP4. Well, you know, if you take away AVC HD on one program and you take away MP4 on the other, you're going to get a bit snookered here.
yeah.
And Apple have prevented their Mac machines from completing the WeTransfer tasks. So I don't know quite what WeTransfer does, but whether that imports or exports, I don't know. But they've taken some of the action of that off. So his summation of all that is the driving force behind sales is no longer that of improvements. It is now systematic crippling of what you already possess. I know of no other area so cruelly molested as videography and its world of software. Beware the corporates of tomorrow. So, you know, if you're satisfied with your editing program, make sure that you haven't got your internet running when you've got it switched on. Or make sure you can't update.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that one out of the way. Give us something to think about. But that's in the SoCo News, if people have got access to SoCo News.
Yeah.
Right, now the lecture. I've called it Get a Life, or How Long Will Your Media Last? Well, what do you do about media storage? By this, I mean, do you store or archive your data of your treasured films or photos on VHS tape, Standard 8, High 8, DV memory card, USB drive, hard drive, DVD, Blu-ray, colour prints, or 35mm colour positives? Now you've got all those different media where you're storing your data on. How long do they last? Can you guarantee that the pictures and things are going to be there next year? Well, it's generally recommended that you transfer all of your treasured and archived data from tapes to DVD or to a digital hard drive or to the cloud. So tapes have got a bad press at the minute. So let's start with VHS tapes. The following comment and advice will broadly apply to all tapes, VHS, Standard 8, High 8 and DV. These come in different grades. The standard consumer, which we've all used, advanced consumer, when we've spent a bit of extra money and got a special tape, professional, which we've probably never had, and broadcast quality, which the BBC use. And that's nigh on perfect. In addition to the thickness of the film, particle density and tape perfection, they all play a part. The quality of consumer tapes between 1970 and the mid-1980s was far more durable than the thinner and cheaper tapes which followed through the 1990s. So if you've got old tapes, you're probably better off, because later on, before tapes finished, they made the tape thinner and thinner, and it causes durability problems. The results of tape degradation will be noticed as tape dropouts, scrolling errors, and the pictures will get progressively more faded and blurred. A good tape, stored well, will typically lose 10 to 20% of its performance over 10 to 25 years, depending on how you store it. Causes of degradation. The quality of the original tape, recording, setting and storage conditions, dust, bacteria and the loss of magnetic single or imprinting. Tape quality has been dealt with. Recorded quality setting, standard play, long play and extended play. Now, if you're on long play and extended play, you're onto a loser there because you're packing too much data in small areas of your tape. And if there are any glitches, they get magnified and you've got serious problems. Maximum data will be imprinted using the SP or standard play setting. At least on the EP setting, which runs, the least data will be on EP setting, which runs at a much lower speed. The storage conditions being too hot will affect the tape film. Too cold may cause condensation. Too dusty accelerates the rubbing wear around the playback heads. And high humidity will cause the tape layers to stick together and promote tape eating bacteria growth, which also transfers to the playback heads and seems almost impossible to remove. Now, I've had some problems there. I've had some grubby tapes, probably with bacteria on, and I ruined 3 tape players in a row trying to get one film off. So, and about £150 a time, I wasn't best pleased. Right, tape usage. Each time the tape is used or played, a slight surface wear and losses of magnetic particles occur. So if you used your tape a lot, don't expect too much. Aging. Well, aging will cause the oxide shredding from the tape face. So just natural falling apart of the tape surface, really. Demagnetization. This can occur by storing too close to loudspeakers, electric meters, or even house wiring. So, you know, if you haven't got many places left in the house, not too hot, not too cold, not too damp, not too dusty, well away from any electrical interference, and don't play it very often. And you'll be lucky if you get a decent picture at the end of all that. So, tips on storing tapes. Never touch a tape. Rewind the tape before storage, so it always goes back to the start position. Keep from curious kids and avoid dropping or banging the tapes. Because one of the other things that people don't realise is if you're storing the tapes and you give it a knock, it can, all the layers, the spirals of the tape round the drum or round the reel, they can drop sideways, and then it can affect the alignment when it's trying to go through the playing heads, and it can jam up in the tape reel and all sorts of things there. Again, as if you're storing tapes, they should always be stored upright or vertical. Never lay a tape on its side, because just the tape droop will just gradually try and drag the tapes down into a conical shape instead of a nice tightly wound cylindrical shape. Keep away from any magnetic fields, which we've said. No high humidity. Don't leave in a car or caravan or camper van for overheat, cold or high humidity. Don't play cold tapes. If the tape is cold, remove the condensation first by gently warming to room temperature. And that can take an hour or two if you've had them in a cold car. You know, and when you get to someone's house, if you've got to play one and want to use it, you don't want to wait a couple of hours before you can play it. At least once a year, go through your collection and fast forward and rewind all your tapes to avoid magnetic imprinting and sticking of the tapes on playing. How many times have we rewound our tapes? I've got lots of standard 8 and high 8 and DVs, and I think it's donkey's yes. I've rewound those, but I'm still expecting them to work. Tips on storage then, the do's. We've gone through the don'ts, but do keep in a cool, dry, stable condition, not too humid, not too dusty. Always store the cassette in a cassette case. Do store vertically to avoid gravity pull. Fast forward and rewind before playing any tape after a period of storage. Transfer of tape recorded and played on standard play to best quality DVD for least compression problems. A life of 10 to 20 years can be expected from a quality professional tape, not just a standard, not even, you know, all the cheap thin ones. For the good quality professional tape, a life of 10 to 20 years can be expected. With limited use. Older tapes from the 1970s and 80s, as we said, are all more durable than the thinner tapes of the 1990s. 4 grades of tape were available. Standard, advanced, consumer, professional and broadcast. These were determined by tape thickness, particle density and tape perfection. High humidity really is the kiss of death for all your treasured wedding vow memories with the tape sticking together. So it's bad news for tapes altogether. The message here is try and get them off and put them onto DVD or hard drive, preferably as soon as possible. But then DVDs and hard drives will give you different problems, so beware what you're going to do. So if we go on to DVDs, the life of DVD and Blu-ray discs is what we'll discuss next. Now, just out of interest, if you've got any queries, I don't mind you just jumping in and we can discuss any comments you'd like to make while I'm talking, because you might tend to forget with all the data that's coming over by the time the talk finishes. Right. One method for determination of end of life for a disk now is based on the number of errors on a disk before the error correction occurs. Because a lot of the disc players, they do a kind of mathematical thing. And if you've got a little glitch, it reads the tape before the glitch and after the glitch and does a bit of a mathematical, and it works out what it ought to say as well as what it does say. And that's what you play. I can remember I was making my early films and doing them onto standard DVDs, and I got a decent player and they all looked absolutely perfect. Never showed any problems. And when I took the first 1 or 2 down to the club room to show a competition, there was glitches and jumps and things all over the place, because mine was doing a 16 times sampling, I think, and the club room one might have been doing 4 times sampling or none at all. Then I bought a cheap player from Aldi's so I could take them around to different people and show. And you couldn't even watch the film. It was just absolutely hopeless. It was just showing everything. All the glitches on the screen coming up on the screen. So I took that back, got my money back on that one, fortunately. Right, failure occurs with the higher numbers of errors that can't be defined to cause a performance problem or minor catastrophic. So if you get big problems, they were catastrophic and they are numbers of errors. If you get very small problems, it depends on how many you get in a cluster. And if you've got a small cluster, you're okay. But if you've got a big cluster, that will show up as an error. A small number of uncorrected errors can be deemed unacceptable and will signal the end of disk. Also, radial scratches are a lot less serious than circumferential ones. Again, this is what we say if you've got one little glitch because you've got a scratch going across your disk. your mathematics in your playing system will almost eliminate that scratch. But if it runs round the disc, the scratch stays in a playable condition for a longer period. And then the mathematics can't handle it anymore, and it will show up as a glitch or a problem. In this respect, though, one should wipe a clean disk surface, wipe to clean the disk surface in a radial direction. So when you're cleaning, you probably will know this anyway, but when you're cleaning a DVD or a CD, start from the middle and wipe towards the outer edge. Never go round in circles like a record, because if you go round in circles, you'll put circumferential scratches in, which will give you problems. So straight across the disc to clean. Unless recommended storing condition, under recommended storing conditions, the highest quality discs, CDRs and DVDs, plus or minus Rs, may last 100 to 200 years in good conditions. So that sounds good news, doesn't it? 100 years out of a disc. But there have been problems, whereas DVD rewrites and DVD RAMs may only last 25 years. Now, CD, DVD, ROM and RAM and RW discs all have different data layer materials. Some have a dye material and some have a thin aluminium foil, and it is thin. It's a lot thinner than silver paper, and the laser burns little dots and dashes in it. Just a sec before I go on any further. Are you all right, Marie?
Yeah, sorry, I got my cat here. Sorry. My cat likes to join in, look.
I thought he was going to make us a cup of tea. Meow.
Well, it wants feeding, but it's been fed, but it just doesn't want to. It doesn't want to go down, and I've lost my seat.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah. So
Hi,
talking
Max.
about
Hi,
these.
Max. Oh, hi,
Hi.
Max.
Yeah.
Could I say something?
Yes.
When we've been doing the Penny Cup, you get
Yeah.
these Blu-rays come in,
Right.
and the Blu-ray disc seems far better than the normal minus R discs. They're thicker, and they seem far more robust. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, that's probably reflected in the price, because you can get a standard DVD disc for about 25p, and they were costing £8 for a Blu-ray disc blank. I don't know what they are now, but there is a big difference in the price. So you get top quality dyes, top quality plastics, and everything, because they know that you're going to put a top quality product on it. You know, a lot of the other discs, they're just like, they could be data discs. We use them for video, but basically I think they're often used for storing photos or typewritten work, you see.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know that the Blu-ray discs were so expensive, but
well,
I think if you've got a
I-
really good film, I think it's worth putting them on Blu-ray, because
yes.
the discs appear to be so much more robust and less likely to scratch. I think the normal minus R ones, I've you know, got rid of. They do tend to scratch quite easy, don't they?
They can do. It probably depends on the make a little bit, but you're probably quite right that they can easily scratch, especially again, you know, if you wipe them the wrong way. If you've got a damp cloth, like a damp chamois leather is ideal for cleaning discs, because, you know, sometimes you get a fingerprint on them and it will start to play you up, and you can clean that, but clean it by wiping from the middle to the edge of the disc across the face.
Or if you at a club meeting and the projectionist is putting a lot of discs on, you know, that sometimes they may not be quite as careful as what you might have thought they could have been.
That's true. And again, I don't know what Wimborne do, but we've usually had a damp chamois leather handy if the disc is a bit dirty, and we're giving it a quick clean, and it's solved the problem in nearly all the cases.
The big disadvantage I find with the Blu-ray disc is you can only play them on a Blu-ray player.
That is true. That is true. And you know, if you're making films to circulate around friends and relatives, it's surprising how many, well, I find, that they haven't got a Blu-ray player. In fact, a lot of them haven't even got a modern player that will play MP4 or AVC HD. They do a standard DVD format, and that's it. so I've just sent some discs off to a nursery near Southampton, near Romsey, and I've had to give him an MP4 version and a standard DVD version because I don't know what his player's like. But having done that, I've noticed there's a huge difference in quality. So I recommended that if he can't play the MP4 one, he should find one of his friends that have got a player so they can have a look and see the difference in the quality. Okay, so right, yeah, so CD, DVD, ROM, RAM and RW discs do have different layer materials. Now the commercial ones that you buy in the shop with films already on, they're not made with lasers like how we burn a disc. They are moulded, and they're much more longer lasting. So you get the moulded aluminium discs, organic dyes or phase changing film, and there are types of metal or dye used in the disc manufacturer. You can get gold, silver, silver alloy or aluminium. So there's all different kind of materials in the disc when you burn it. So if you buy a higher quality disc, you get what you paid for, and you might get a really good foil, which is longer lasting than just an ordinary disc from Smith's Bookshop. The gold, if you think, well, I'll get a top quality gold one then, right? Well, that can be affected by sulfur dioxide, which does float around in the atmosphere, but will, with the proper storage, outlast the technology. So if you get a good gold disc and you store it well, away from any likelihood of sulfur dioxide, more or less lasts forever. It'll outlast all the players anyway. Right once discs use a dye-based layer, and the laser just changes the colour of the dye, but the dye degrades slowly over time. But this degradation is accelerated by prolonged exposure to UV light. So if you've made a disc and you leave it in the sunlight, goodbye disc. The sunlight will fade the dye away and fade your picture away, because it's like a big laser, really, and it just blurs it all off. Also, high humidity and temperature can affect it. In some discs, especially the earlier ones, where they made the disc in two layers, so there was the main plastic layer, then there was the foil, then there was another layer that put on the top, and the edge was supposed to be sealed, and they didn't seal the edges properly. So if you left them in a damp room, the damp used to creep in through the join, through the edge of the disc, and you could see it. You could see the aluminium or the dye and the aluminium's inside. You could see them just slowly degrading away. Well, not slowly. So there were some people who had a disc and it only lasted 6 months. All depends on your storage. You can get heat build-up due to sunlight, and that will accelerate anything. You get extra heat and your chemical reactions will go faster. As a general rule though, if you store your discs under 25 degrees centigrade and under 25 humidity, so it's 25, that's the best you can do. CD-ROM and DVD-ROM are pressed discs, and they should last much longer. because they are commercially made. So environmental forces will degrade the data layer faster than the polycarbonate substrate layer, the clear plastic which makes up most of the disk. Pollutants can migrate through the polycarbonate layer. So what's this then? Pollutants can migrate through the polycarbonate layer, the hard lacquer layer, the label side, or the edge, and it's carried in by moisture. Now, plastic, it does sort of repel moisture, but it can absorb it as well. And then over a period of time, the moisture does just get straight in through. I can remember when I was in industry, we had some sizing problems, or we've had some plastic cages made for ball bearings, hundreds and thousands of them. And they made them, and they were all too small. So we sent the sample back for checking, and they returned them back to us within a week and said, no, we checked them, they're all the right size. But what we noticed, they put them in a plastic bag with some water in it. So we said, hey, these are all wet. And of course, the water made the nylon swell. Yeah. And I didn't know that nylon absorbs water, but it does, and it swells. Oxygen and moisture can penetrate through scratches. So again, here comes the old scratch problem. Oxygen and moisture will penetrate through scratches, cracks, or delaminated areas. The oxygen can be trapped between the layers during manufacture. So you can get bad batches, which in the early days we did. You get a batch of discs and you'd find that a percentage of them would be failures when you tried to play them back. The aluminium foil type, the shiny surface, can become dull, losing its reflectivity, like the aluminium ladder left out in all weathers. Likewise, silver alloy varieties will oxidize and they will become dull. High humidity and temperatures will accelerate the rate of this oxidation. Physical mishandling of the disc is the usual cause of polycarbonate damage. Now, you can get them in and out of the case, and you know, sometimes you get a difficult tight case and you put your thumb on the middle bit and you pull the disc over and you curl it round at quite an alarming angle before it snaps out the case. You could be damaging the layers, you know, you've got to be careful. The polycarbonate will flex, bend or warp if the disc is stored in a non-vertical position. So they're saying, don't just store your discs any old how. You really need all your discs stood up like soldiers, and that will keep them flat. Otherwise, if they sort of warp and they're flying around at pretty high speed in your player, you're going to end up with all sorts of problems. So storage, keep them all upright. Inks, solvents, pollutants will irreversibly penetrate, deform and discolor or corrode the disc layer. Now you think, well, inks, what's that about then? Well, you know, some discs you can print your picture and your title on the disc itself. Well, they're probably manufactured in a slightly different way. But never just use an ordinary felt tip pen to write the data on a disc, because the solvents and the inks can soak through your polycarbonate layer and damage the disc. You notice that there are special felt tip pens, and it says for CD and DVD use. They're not easily found in the shops these days, but if you search around or ask, they will supply them, and they're guaranteed not to penetrate through. So always use the proper pen when you write your information on your disc. CD-R minus R and DVD minus R discs are generally not considered suitable for archive use. It's all right if you're going to make a quick disc and take it to a competition and just leave it. But if you want to have something in your archive, wedding films and things that you want to look back in a few years' time, don't use minus R discs. They use what they call a phase-changing aluminium material, and it's not as stable as the dye used in plus R discs. So plus R discs will last longer than minus R ones. They may last only 5 to 10 years before recording. They may only lasts 5 or 10 years before recording. However, the packaging makes no note of this fact, so do not stockpile these items. So if you've got a pack of new discs and they're minus Rs particularly, if they're more than 5 years old, you might have trouble even making a disc. And if you get them from a shop that's had them a long time, they might have had them in the shop stock for a year before you have them. So you've only got 4 years life left, minimum. With great care though, and you've got to have great care, you've got to know what you're doing, they may still outlast the technology. So if you have the right conditions, you don't scratch them, you keep them in a safe place, stored vertically, they could last a long time. But they can soon disappear if you don't watch what you're doing there. The phase change films are much more susceptible to heat, UV light, high humidity, though up to 1,000 rewrites are sometimes possible for rewrite discs. Now, that's what it said, 1,000 rewrites. But I've heard, I've seen in some magazines that when you've done 10 rewrites, you start running into trouble. I got some, I only got about 8 rewrites, and I had to throw the disc away because it wouldn't take any more. So I don't know if I wasn't clearing if my system wasn't clearing the disc properly, but I was only getting about 8 rewrites. Anyway, we're nearly finished now. So RW and RAM discs are not considered suitable for archival use. They use a phase-changing aluminium material. My experience finds that RW discs can fail under 10 rewrites, which is what I've just said. CD, DVD, ROM, RW and RAM each have different layers. So deterioration of those changes according to the disk you've got and your condition to store it in. So you've got to know your discs. And I thought a disc was a disc, but it's not. You can get different qualities of disc and you can get different materials it's made of. So error correction in players, which is sampling, which is what I talked about, the mathematical sampling, it will hide many minor errors and degradation. But the user will notice when this can't cope and your clusters get too great, and then the mathematics can't handle it anymore. So just going overall, comparisons of usage. If you keep in mind that a VHS tape, you should with good storage, again, all these are good storage, the VHS tape should last 10 to 15 years. Standard 8, High 8 and DVD, your camera tapes, should last 12 to 15 years. The old cine film, stored well, lasts 40 to 60 years. Good old cine. Colour photos can last 20 to 30 years, but some, I mean Kodak will, but some of the others I got have turned a definite shade of purple. The old Ferrania colours and things like that, all purple, and some of them have gone all brown, you know. Colour slides again, they can change, but a good colour slide, Kodaks will last 50 to 70 years. And I got some nearly 70 years old and they look as good as when I first took them. DVDs, if you look after them, will last 25 to 30 years. Really because DVD surfaces are non-contacting when played and really provide you a better protection from oxidization and humidity. So there's quite a bit to think of with tapes and DVDs. I hope sometime in the future we can do another one and go through hard drives and memory cards, because some of the memory cards and things, they're subject to failures quite quick. Some of them don't last too long. And again, when a memory card fails, it usually just fails all of a sudden. It either works or it doesn't. There's no warnings. And if you've got valued data on a memory card and it just goes on the blink, basically you're stuck. Although I think professional people can interrogate it and get some of your data off, but they charge the earth. So I would suggest hard drives are your better storage. But even then, they say every year you should transfer, re-record your on a separate hard drive, backwards and forwards if you like, but record each year your data so that it doesn't just sit there on the hard drive for too long. And I had heard from the shop that I had hard drives go in my computer, and I said, well, how long are hard drives supposed to last then? He said, oh, about 5 years. After 5 years, your hard drives go. So it's not good news, unfortunately, but you can skate around a lot of it by just being careful and buying good quality and looking after what you've got. Okay, that's the end of tonight's story, and hope we can do a part 3 and 4 another day. Okay.
Thank you, Max.
Any questions?
Max, thank you.
Are there any questions on to Max?
If anybody is particularly interested and they want to look into it a bit deeper, I can send you some printed copies of this. It's all done out in 3 pages of a A4 print.
I think so, yeah. Thank you. Good.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we can throw the club open now to any other business and query and any other queries that people might have.
Last meeting, we saw some of the Soko films.
Right.
Or some of Marie's. I wonder whether she had any feedback from. Was it good feedback from Soko?
Yes, I had some feedback. I did send quite a few films actually. I sent, I think it was about 11, and I was selected to have, was it second or third, have a placing with 2 of my films.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. The Wishing Tree was one of them, and In Search of the Gruffalo, and so they were putting them forward, and so I got given, I think, 3 stars.
Yeah, I think we saw the Gruffalo and the Wishing Tree. Also one walking down the.
Hell's Lane.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other one we saw.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I did 1 minute films and I didn't know what to do with them. I've never put them in a 1 minute competition, so I thought I'd put them all in here. I'm sure they got a bit fed up of all my films, but.
Oh, well, it's nice to. They're all different subjects, weren't they? So, you know.
Yeah.
Good to try it.
Yeah.
And did you find that the feedback was good?
Yeah, the feedback's really good actually. And then you can work out where you can improve, or what was good and what wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did see a couple of them, although we've seen them in the club as well. We did see a couple of them the last meeting.
And then I put one which was the Solar Overlord, which was a very big film, but they didn't watch all of it obviously. So I'd like them to have had a look properly at it, but they didn't. So I'm not sure, but I'll try it again in another competition or something.
Yeah, but don't be put off by it.
Yeah.
Right. The next meeting we got is the members' night. So I would like to feel that people could. Does everybody know how to share their screen?
No.
No.
You might have guessed I wouldn't be able to.
You should have a button down on the black bar at the bottom.
Mine's at the top. Black bar at the top. Oh yeah, share content. No, is that it?
Oh, share screen. The little green square.
That's right. Yeah.
That one.
Mine says share content.
Try that one, Pam. See if it works.
If you press that button, it should show you your desktop, a whiteboard.
Oh,
where you
the
can write on.
screen. Yeah, it's got a list: screen, photos, iCloud, Drive, Dropbox, all that. Yeah.
So
it would be show screen then. Share screen.
you show things on your computer. So if
So you can share it.
if you had a little film you wanted, the best thing is to open up beforehand, and it should then be available there.
Yeah.
And then obviously open up and then minimize, but it should be then available there. And you can then press on that particular one to share your screen with us
Ah.
all.
Right, I wondered what that all meant. Ah, right.
Right?
Mm,
Something new.
If they, people have
yeah.
something they'd like to share with us next week, or sorry, not next week, a fortnight's time, that's how we would do it.
Hey,
Is everybody happy with that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Can everybody do it? Can everybody do this?
It's fine. Why are you laughing, Barry? Just because you're sitting out there in the sunshine doesn't mean to say you can't.
Difficult to practice it, isn't it? Difficult to practice. How do you practice? You click onto your share screen and depends what's on the screen comes up.
Well, if you try that, Barry, if you press share screen,
It says share.
I've done
It says
that.
share content because Barry and I are the same,
okay, all right.
and then it will have a drop down.
Oh, it's got like basic, advanced files, whiteboard, iPhone.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Yep. Well done, Barry.
Do you want to listen to Benny Hill then?
Yeah, go on.
Your name's on it, then it'll knock your brains out if you've got me. Look behind and start to shout. He says, let me out. And I just look for him because my name's Watley. Oh, well, Christmas Eve. Old Harry Dawes dresses up as Santa Claus. And he has a few and needs a map to find his way with. He goes down next door's chimney instead, ends up by Mrs. Timmer's bed, and he says, I've got something lovely here for you to like it. I mean, Tim, it was the wing sport. This morning he's in court. And guess who's on the bench? Old Fish-Face Grave. He said, I shall not treat this case with leniency. You've been charged with gross indecency. He said, cool, I ain't been indecent under the 44 times. He says, this year there has been more lechery and sin than any other year I can recall. I award this lady 10 quid. And Harry says, oh, splendid. If I can afford it, I'll give her a proper two and all. Well, Christmas come and went, and we felt the time well spent. It was add a bit more pudding. Where's the business? And though we drunk until we burst, may I be the first to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. You try rhyming with bismuth.
Right, well, that's
Barry.
an example. How do we get rid of it?
I don't know whether the lip sync was quite in there, but we should be able to stop share. There should be a stop sharing.
Right.
Press it again.
Well, there's two arrows, an undo and a redo on the second line down. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Perhaps I don't know. Is that what you do? Undo.
I can stop you if necessary, but so right.
That was a bit muffled, Barry.
Was it really?
I don't know if it's recording from the microphone or recording from the television, from the computer. I don't know where the voice is coming from.
No, it was very clear here, but I'm surprised it's for you.
I've got something on the screen. If the suggestion was we could have a comedy spot every week.
Okay.
Be a bit interesting. So I've got a friend of mine to do it. If you want to have a look, he's I'll put the share screen on. Oh, that didn't want to do that, did it?
No.
Hang on, let's get rid of that. Oh, share.
Yeah.
Don't want that, do you?
But
We're getting there. I think it's started up now.
Hey,
This evening, I will be presenting some of my favourite comedy sketches. I hope they do not offend anybody, but if they do, you must like that. So there we go then. Let's have a laugh and a giggle. Arthur Ducker's comedy sketch. I went to school in a little village called Rathfarnham, County Dublin. First day, school. It's kind of long, winding drive. One of those Gothic doors, great studs in it. Rang the bell. There's one of these nuns, flapping. Terrifying, terrifying. 3.5, 4 years of age, terrifying. What do you want, little boy? My mummy and daddy said I better come here. Yes? Well, if you come here, you've got to be a good little boy. Will you be a good little boy? And I could see past her. There was a fellow nailed to a cross. Well, you're bloody right, I'll be a good little boy. First question they ask, what do you know about God? What do you know about God? Who? God! Who's God? God? You do not know who God is? Sister? Sister, we have an atheist here. Let me tell you, little boy. God is, God was, and God always will be. One. What he is? He is the Father, he is the Son, he is the Holy Ghost. He is 3 in 1. Do you understand? He's amazed. Why wouldn't I? The greatest theological question in the world, 3 people in 1. Actually, yeah. Where is he? He is here. Well, I can't see him. That doesn't mean because you can't see him that he's not here. Doesn't it? He's in the cupboard. He's not in the cupboard. God doesn't go into cupboards. He's not on the stairs. He's here with us now. He's upstairs, he's downstairs, he's outside, he's inside, he's everywhere. He's a big one. I can't see him. I'm asked, do you love him? Do you love him? I don't know. I've never seen him. God loves you. And he wants your love. But if you do not give him your love, he will cast you into an everlasting flame. He will cast you into everlasting flame. Have you ever burnt yourself? I burnt myself on the candle. What was it like? Can you imagine that pain all over your body? That's what will happen to you if you do not love God. What do you think of that? I love him. I love him. Then I asked, who was the fellow on the cross? Jesus. Who's Jesus? He's the Son of God. I told you. Father, the Son, and Holy Ghost. He's the Son of God. He was born on Christmas Day and died on Easter. He didn't hang around, did he? What happened to him? He died because of you. Christ died on the cross because of your sins. When was this? It was 2,000 years ago. You can't blame me. I'm only 4 for Christ's sake. Did he have a daddy? Of course he had a daddy. I told you he had a daddy. God was his daddy. He had a mummy. Yes, he had a mummy. Mary was his mummy. So God was married to Mary. No, God was not married to Mary. Mary was married to Joseph. Shut up. Between my parents and the church, brains are scrambled. I learned to bless myself. First time I learned to bless myself was sadly when my uncle died. And he was been buried in a kind of remote part of the Dublin Mountains. And it was a real funereal day. The wind was whipping down, and the rain. And I'm only in space, I'm kind of wandering around between these legs and this black cloud and umbrellas and dripping rain, this bloody hole in the ground. At least I don't know what it was all about. And I'm watching the coffin being lowered into the ground, and I hear the priest say what I think. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and into the hole he goes. That's how I blessed myself for years. In the name of the Father, Son, and into the Holy Ghost. What did you say? In the name of the Father, Son, and into the Holy Ghost. He goes into the Holy Ghost. He didn't go into the hole. I was there. I saw him.
No, I finished the lecture. It's still on, you know, the club room's still going, so that's all right. Well, it depends on the channel. I'll see what I can do later. Oh yeah, I'll get that back. Yeah.
Right. Good.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No.
Everybody, I'm on my way now.
Okay, Pam.
Nice to see you again.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay, then, John.
See you all in a fortnight.
Good night.
Enjoy
Yeah, they're just signing. Someone was signing off. So yeah. Okay. Cheers.
Good night, Matt.
Che- Cheers, Pam. Yeah.
Good thing. I enjoyed the talk.
Good.
How did that come over? Was the sound okay or not?
Well, I found difficulty with it. There's a lot. I heard some of it, about 60% of the words I could hear. The others I couldn't work out.
Right.
I turned the volume up on this end a bit, but it made a bit of difference.
So anybody else find it was clear or not clear or what?
I didn't find it very clear either.
It's not very lip sync.
Right. It seems that we are getting the sound from, not from the computer, we're getting it from the speakers, aren't we?
Well, hold on. Did you? That could be a good reason. But do you think it's to do with the speed of the being able to the devices to read the internet and buffering up? You know, because it seems as though the sound comes through all right because there's less data, but the pictures they sort of buffer up and keep sort of jumping, don't they?
Oh,
And it jumps in and out of sync.
well, that was a very old recording anyway.
Well, yeah, but it just seems as though, you know, it's been able to read the data at the speed it's trying to come through.
So we need to address that problem then.
Well, this is where the Wimborne Club said that check all your internet speeds, make sure that you've got everything up, well, on the receiving end, really, rather, well, I suppose it applies to sending as well. But just check your speeds and see they're the best you've got.
Yeah, well, Barry's one wasn't very clear, and mine's not very clear. So it seems like we've got to have the speakers near the microphone or something, don't we? I mean, I've got speakers down by the computer.
Yeah.
The microphone I'm speaking on is above the computer. So you've got a big air gap between the two, haven't you?
Yeah.
Oh, your computer sounds okay.
I didn't notice too much about lip sync, but then I got an iPad so that the speaker and the sound is all in the same little unit.
Yeah.
So maybe that's giving you a bit of an answer on when you got separate ones.
I think it's transmitting from this end is the problem.
Yeah.
I don't know how we can get over it, apart from putting a speaker near the microphone or a separate microphone to put right in front of the speaker.
Well, between you and I, Dave, I think we need a bit more advice from the Wimborne Club.
Yeah, perhaps we do.
And that might point us in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah,
Could I say something, Max?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. On the BIAF competition, they didn't hold the competition actually in the hotel this year because of COVID. So
Right.
they did it on the internet.
Right.
So between the films, they had a meeting, like this on Zoom, and they would have quite a lot of people, they're up to 200 actually on occasions.
Wow.
And then when the films were shown, they showed the films on YouTube, but it wasn't open to anybody. It was only open to the people who had registered, right? So
Right.
on YouTube, you could have, say, all of your or our club members were named. Their emails were named when you set the film up, that they could receive the film. Then you go from the Zoom to YouTube, but you could probably keep the Zoom open and watch the film on YouTube, and then of course it'll be then like a normal, well, not normal, but it'd be a lot better quality. I mean, what was happening with mine?
YouTube
with
was set up for video, isn't it?
Yeah, what was happening with the Dave Allen one here was the sound was more or less all right, but the video was coming through about 1 frame a second. As you say, it was buffering up, and it just wasn't enough speed to handle it. And I don't think, and whatever you do with Zoom, I don't think you're going to get the speed to do it. But if you go over to if people upload them to their to YouTube, and then list the names of people, or even just make it public. Just make it public and put it up for a period of time, and if you don't want it up there, take it down after it's been shown or something.
That sounds a good idea. The problem, as I see it, is if you're using, if you're not using copyright-free music, YouTube is very quick to shut you down, because it's got these automatic readers. They listen to the first few bars of your music, and if it recognises it's a copyright product, it just shuts you off, doesn't it?
Maybe this is why.
That's why the names. If you did it with a name group, you might get away with it.
It was a limited. Yeah, that was why it was limited then. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So I didn't realise that it was all done on a named group. So that makes. I'm sure that made a difference. Yeah.
That's it. People registered beforehand, and then and then you received. You received sort of like an afternoon's of film, about an hour and a half of different films. Someone had made up a playlist of the films, and then there was discussion about them. Yeah.
So by registering your name, you come within the IAC agreement for using copyright music, because we can play those discs in the clubs to club people and into club competitions if they're under the umbrella of IAC. So maybe that agreement covered YouTube if you're registered.
Yeah, that'll be it then.
Yeah. Okay.
Could I just say Could I say just a couple of other things, Max, whilst I'm on?
Yes,
not unless anybody else wants to say anything. I'll just say that the SOCO committee, if any members from Bournemouth would like to represent SOCO, I'm representing Weymouth. If any members from Bournemouth would like to represent SOCO on a Zoom meeting, that'd be great. Pip Crittin, who does the magazine, he is now the chairman, as you know, chairman of SOCO, and he's organising the Zoom meeting. It's all on Zoom meetings, and Sue Cockwell from Bristol is going to be running the competitions for the coming year, regional competitions, and she's the Bristol representative for SOCO. So I said that I would mention this to Bournemouth and Wimborne, but I haven't really officially said to Wimborne yet, but I will do.
Okay. Yeah, so if anybody wants to do that, they'll come back through you and go on from there.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be great. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
You wouldn't be keen to do it, Max?
Well, I'll be interested, but just at the moment, I just seem to have so many things on. I'm struggling. So
I understand.
maybe at some time in the future, but just at the moment, just going through a bit of a patch. So, yeah.
Another thing is that they are going to do the BF next year. They're hoping to do it again in a hotel, or a cinema. But they're the judging is going to be done via the internet. They've asked me to be a judge again, so I'm chuffed about that. It's a fairly heavy weekend, but it's good fun. Then we're doing the judging in February, and it can look very expensive to put a film into BF, but if you become a member of the IAC of £37, you get the magazine, and also you get big discounts on the films. And I did work out that with the 1 minute films, it looked like you could more or less enter them free if you were a member.
So you've got to be an individual member. You can't have an umbrella membership of a club like Wimborne or Kidston.
Yeah, you've got to be
an individual member.
Yeah, you've got to be an individual member to get the discount.
Right. Okay.
I think what the whole idea of the big prices is it's to come alongside the people who make independent films. So if you were putting an independent film into BF, it wouldn't seem that much more expensive, because I think entering any of these big competitions is be quite expensive, sort of £50 touch. But if anybody who is putting a film in, even one of these independent filmmakers puts a film in and they join the IAC, they can get these discount prices. So obviously that's one of the ways of encouraging membership of the IAC.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks very much for that. I do appreciate that. Is Jim still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, you've been a bit quiet this evening, but have you enjoyed what you've seen this evening?
Very much so, yeah.
That's good.
That was a good talk from you.
Well, we all sort of blithely go ahead and say, oh, I've got that on tape, or I've got that on disc, and you think, oh, that's there forever, but it's not. So you've got to be careful what you're wishing for and what you spend on the quality of the product, really. Like everything, in a way.
I'm lucky, because I dug one of my old films out yesterday, and it still worked all right. I've got a Blu-ray player. Yeah, it still worked all right on that.
Yeah. Well, as we were saying, we thought the Blu-ray discs were higher quality than ordinary DVD discs. So, and again, the dies might be more permanent, and the protection against ingress of oxygen and so on and damp into the disc itself is probably better. So, so you'd expect, I would expect a Blu-ray disc to last a bit longer. But there again, as you said, given the right storage conditions, an ordinary DVD could last you 50 years, or so.
This was just an ordinary DVD, but I played it on a Blu-ray player.
Oh, right. I'm with it. Yeah, because it'll play below the quality level as well as the Blu-ray. Yeah, that's good.
Well, I was quite chuffed with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Now,
well, the Blu-ray player upscales it, doesn't it? It gives you a better picture than a normal DVD player.
Well, now that's an interesting point, Dave. As I understand it, some televisions will upscale and some players will upscale. So how does your system know whether they're both doing it or both not doing it?
Oh.
So I was thinking about that the other day. I thought, well, if the player's upscaling and the television tries to do the same, does it cause a problem or does it recognise it's already been done?
Ooh, probably you get two lots of upscaling, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, but I mean that could, you see, I have played a disc on a television, and it's I suppose the system's tried to sharpen it up, and in the end, it's all like all you can see is thousands of pixels. You know, they're all glowing and jumping around in the dark.
Oh.
And I think, is that upscaling that's gone wrong? I don't know. I just don't know.
I know.
But yeah, I know Keith's got a very good system, and it was his television that was doing the upscaling, as I understand it. And he does get a brilliant picture. Gets a brilliant picture.
Mm.
Yeah. Right. Is Bill still there?
Yeah.
Bill...
Yeah.
Hello, Bill. How you doing?
I enjoyed your talk.
That's good.
I've had problems with DVDs being left in daylight.
Yeah.
And then they become unplayable.
Yeah.
You know, fade. It's interesting to know what Hollywood do. They store all their films still on celluloid.
Well,
that's the most.
As it said in the data, the old cine film was supposed to last 40 to 60 years, but that's with ordinary house storage. If you put it in archive storage, that could last a lot longer than that. Yeah,
but I think, you know, we're not in a position where we can store all our stuff on film stock.
No, that's right.
We can
what did surprise me, I've been storing a lot of my DVDs. I just had in a floppy plastic package, supported with a bit of card wrapped round to stop the plastic touching the DVD. And I've been I've been standing them up generally speaking, but I had also thrown a few in willy-nilly, and they were all at all angles. And when I researched that and I opened the drawer, I was horrified, and I quickly had a big rummage and I stored everything in vertical condition to stop it getting warped.
Yeah.
So that's hopefully that's solved a problem developing.
I mean, one of the problems is that if you want to put things on Blu-ray, you've got to have a Blu-ray recorder.
Yeah, and you've got to have the software to do it as well. And
it's quite an expensive process compared to
DVD.
DVD.
As I say, I don't know how much the discs are now, but they were very expensive per disc. They used to be about £8 a disc, I think, but I'm sure when I last spoke to Keith a year ago, they were about £6 a disc.
I mean, have any of us got a Blu-ray recorder?
The club did buy one, a recorder player. I don't know quite where it is exactly at the minute, but the club is available as a separate one, you know, a standalone job that you plugged into a HDMI socket, I think.
Yeah, but I've got it, Max.
Oh, have you? Okay.
I've got it, yeah. I've also got a Blu-ray burner, so I can make a Blu-ray disc. But the discs aren't all that dear, and less than £1.
Are they really?
Yeah, they come right down.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big difference.
Yeah, they're affordable, you know. But as you say, the problem is you can only play them on a Blu-ray player.
Yes.
Which unless you've got a Blu-ray player, which if you're going to show it to someone else in their house, they probably haven't got one.
The Blu-ray players aren't that expensive now.
No.
I got one I got a cheapo one for 60 quid. And I've also got a burner which you can just plug into the computer, and that wasn't very expensive. Wasn't much more than a DVD burner, normal DVD burner.
That's right.
Yeah, and as you say, the discs aren't that much more expensive now.
No, that's interesting. I didn't know they'd come down that much. That's great. That's good. Good news. Now, with your Blu-ray player, the modern ones, they've got a USB input as well. And I find that you can input MP4 or AVC HD if you've got a modern Blu-ray player. I've got an expensive older Blu-ray player, and that won't read the data. I think the data was only being developed when my big player came out. So since then, I bought a Sony, and the little Sony one's quite portable, and I can plug in hard drives, and I can plug in USB sticks or whatever, and I'll play those, and they come out all right.
Oh, so sorry, Max, you plug the USB stick into the Blu-ray player?
Yeah.
Then it plays for the television?
That's right.
Without a disc in it?
Because although my television's got a USB input, an HDMI input, the television doesn't recognise MP4 or AVC HD. So if you try to plug it in direct, the television just says not compatible.
Yes.
So I bought this Sony player. They did one. There was one about in the upper £70 bracket, and another one for about in the upper £90 bracket. I think they both do the similar job. I did get the more expensive one, but it means that there's the sockets on that player, and I can plug a memory stick in, and I can check if I've made a memory stick for a club competition. I can plug it into my player, my Blu-ray player, into the TV, and make sure it works before I bring it to the club.
Oh, good, yeah.
And also I've rearranged all my different films that I've made. I didn't realise I've got so many on hard drive all over the place. And so I had to sort out the other about a month ago when I found I got 100 films I'd made. And at the moment, they're all on the hard drive, separate hard drive. Now I can put that in my pocket, and I've got the Blu-ray player that goes in a little black bag, and I can take it round to any friends or anywhere and just set it up, plug that into their television, plug my hard drive into the Blu-ray player, and I can play all my 100 films or any selection. It's just so handy, and it all goes in one little bag.
Good, great.
Yeah. And of course, now it's all on one hard drive. It opens up the way of easy backing up. If I want to back it all up on another hard drive, I can do it quite easy without having to rake around through all different kind of, well, it's quite a mess when you've got edited films and finished films and all sorts of different things all mixed. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm getting there eventually and slowly. Yeah. But just going back to how I started, when I said that there was a report in SoCo News that Pinnacle they discontinued allowing you to use AVC HD. I just looked tonight on the new Pinnacle advert for Pinnacle 24, and it says on there that it will do AVC HD. But I did notice if you scroll down on all the data of what Pinnacle 24 does, when you get somewhere near the bottom, there's a special offer at the moment, and you get 2 plugins, and one of them is a converter as a plugin. And I thought, I wonder if they're giving you the free converter, or whether it will actually take AVC HD. And I'm just wondering whether I dare trust them that it's all built in the program. So I'm going to try and contact, I don't know how successful I will be, but I want to try and contact Pinnacle and ask them direct, does the program itself accept AVC HD?
One question, Mac, is why would you want to upgrade your Pinnacle? Reason? Because
well, the thing
they've got
is,
a lot more bits and pieces on them, but a lot of the bits and pieces you don't use, do you?
well, that's true. There are things that I won't use. I do notice that the new Pinnacle has got the giveaway. The offer that's on at the moment. You get Blu-ray processing with it as well. So your Pinnacle will do Blu-ray processing as standard with this special offer. Also, you're able to you can download your screen pictures off your screen straight into Pinnacle. So you've got screen capture with it straight into our Pinnacle timeline, I think. So that could be handy.
Oh, that's very handy. That is.
Yeah. So that was attracting me. Plus, there are one or two features. I mean, I don't want all this multi-camera stuff and whatever, but or multi-sound timelines either. But you know, there's just enough new features because my version is so ancient. There's enough new features to make it sort of interesting to me.
Yeah. I just wondered, Max, because
but what I didn't want to run. Sorry.
The films you put out are excellent, aren't they?
Oh yeah. I mean, it does the job. I mean, the other thing though, with the new Pinnacle, it means that I can export it out into a format suitable to go over into your phone or over onto YouTube.
Yes, you're right.
Whereas at the moment, I'd be stuck. I've got high quality film, and I don't know how I'd get it on YouTube because it would say your data's too much. Yeah. So somehow or other, I've got to downgrade it to suit putting it over on the phone even.
Yeah.
So that would help. I could put short edited films on the phone and send them through on what do you call it?
If you what about if you put the films if you opened up a Vimeo account and put your films on Vimeo, I think you can put higher quality on there, can't you? I think
YouTube. I sort of looked into it, but you think, well, you get so much either. I don't know whether they do 2 levels or whether you get a certain amount free and then you've got to go in. But I wouldn't want to put that many films on. And, if you've got to pay a subscription, which I thought Vimeo was, I'd be wasting the subscription money for the amount of films I'm trying to put on. It's not as though I'm in a business or putting promotional films on or anything. I just want to very rarely put an odd film on. That was all.
Yeah.
So, but I got the feeling that with Vimeo, you'd really want to be like semi-professional and sending films quite a lot to different places to make it worth your while. Because I think you only got so many, was it a minute or 2 minutes length of film you could send the normal, and then if you wanted it any longer, you've got to, say you wanted to put a club competition film on, which lasted up to 6 minutes, then you'd have to do your subscription to get the film to go in complete. Yeah, so all these systems, to me, whether it's the way I work, but they all nearly work, but not quite. There's always a snag. And I think, well, I could do this, but that doesn't quite work. Or I could do that, but the subscription's not worth it. And, I'm on the point of doing things, but never actually get it sorted. Yeah, well, I think it's been an interesting evening, and I've certainly learned quite a bit from all the other bits of chit-chat we've had. So,
excuse me, Max, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You saying back to Pinnacle, because I've got Pinnacle 17.
Yeah.
Now, if I run that without the internet on, they can't log into it.
Well, you'd have to be a bit careful there, because you'd think that if you just switch your internet off while you're using Pinnacle, it won't update. But I've noticed with some of my programs, they update, it's all the updates done in the computer ready, so that when you actually turn the program on, it just whops it in quick. You don't get any choice. So there must be something in Pinnacle itself where you can say, don't update.
Good. I mean,
Like you said, I got a BullGuard security. Well, I don't have to have BullGuard switched on, but it updates it, you know, and it's already in waiting. And when I turn the computer on, it starts updating. I mean, just lately, it's been updating Word, sort of Word, giving me messages anyway, and BullGuard, Yahoo and Google and all these things. And I think I don't want it, but they're all being updated like mad. Every program I turn on has been all swizzled around and updated, and I've got security things coming up my ears. I'm beginning to find it's all a bit too much. I don't mind one now and again, but they're all happening all through September and October. There was even another update tonight on Windows that sort of took a while to put in. So, you know, it seems to be continuous at the moment.
I had a problem early on in the year, and it wiped all my film off my program.
Yeah.
The engineer bloke that services my computer, he had a look at it, and see, well, I thought it was because I've got Windows 10.
Right.
I received an update for that Windows 10, and it seemed to happen after that, and I assumed that was the problem, but maybe it wasn't. Anyway, Will, my computer engineer, he downloaded a patch or something onto me Pinnacle 17 program,
Right.
and that solves the problem.
Oh. Yeah. I do notice that if I get a big update on Windows, it knocks out my scanner and the scanner doesn't work anymore. And I have to reload all the scanner data in to get it to start up again. I can accept some minor updates, but any major update, and it always knocks the scanner out.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my voice is beginning to crack up a bit, as you can probably tell.
Hope everybody enjoyed it tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah. So look forward to the next meeting.
Yeah, and think about what you're going to show us each.
Yeah.
Share with us.
Okay. Right. Well, I'll have to say cheerio and get myself something to lubricate the old vocal cords.
Oh.
Thank you, Mac.
Okay.
Thanks, Mac.
Cheerio. Yeah. Cheerio.
Bye, Mac.
See ya.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.
Hi, John.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, I think we've got to sort out the sound between the computer and what we're sending off.
Hmm.
But I've got a speaker there and the pickups up there, so
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll try putting them together.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how it works.
Mine's fitted to the camera. Well, if I put that in front of the speaker, it should sound a lot better, shouldn't it?
Hmm.
We'll investigate that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to experiment with different ways of doing it.
Because you were using YouTube, weren't you?
Sorry?
You were using YouTube to show something, weren't you?
Yep, I was, yeah. Was that wasn't very clear, was it?
It was a sound, Barry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're very, very soft.
How about that? Is that better if I shout?
Is
Does that make any difference?
Yeah. But there's a setting, Barry.
I don't know, I can't find the setting. I went to settings and the amplification was on maximum.
Oh.
So I don't know if we can do apart from that.
Settings, you've got audio, yeah?
I did have, yeah. I can't find it now. No, can't find the settings now.
Green shield with a click on it. Top left, top right hand corner.
Yeah, that just talks about the meeting we're having. It doesn't offer me any alternative action.
Have you got a stop video button?
I've just got another one come up. Just my settings is just come on the screen now. And if I go to audio,
yeah,
can't see anything.
On the right hand side, you've got volume.
I've got, yes, on the left hand side, I'm clicking on audio. Now I've got the audio of the two microphones are both on maximum.
What, microphone as well?
Yep.
Got microphone, then below that you've got volume.
I've got speaker, and that's up to not volume, and that's top volume, and then I've got the volume one under the microphone, which is again up to top volume.
Oh.
But I don't know.
Because you can slide that up.
You can't hear me very well. Can you not hear me very well?
No, but you're very close to the microphone, aren't you?
Well, I'm getting closer.
The microphone level is right up, you say?
Yeah, maximum, yeah.
Oh.
And it says click. Yeah.
Right.
I'm on the thing that says test the microphone. Click test mic to make sure others can hear you.
Yeah, but below that you've got it says volume and a slider.
Yep.
There's a slider right up.
Yep. Maximum. Yep. Unless I go the wrong way round, perhaps it's on minimum, but I can't seem to move it.
It says automatically adjust volume. Is that ticked?
That's on auto, yeah.
Unclick it. Then you can get your finger on the blue bit and slide it up.
Yes, it doesn't seem to want to move.
That's because you've got automatically adjust microphone is ticked. If you untick that, or clicking on it.
If I click on it, it's got a little arrow thing, and it says you can go to low, medium, or high. What happens then? Is that any different? Is that any different? That's
You've not got a slider on it.
Pardon?
The
Can you hear me now? I'll put it on high, see if that makes any difference.
That's better.
Is that clearer?
That's better.
Yeah, it's better, yeah.
It says to suppress background noise, download the audio enhancement package. You only need to do this once.
Oh.
So I'll do that. Click on that. We're downloading that. Does that make any difference?
That's better.
Is that clearer? 1, 2, 3, testing?
Yes, better. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Right, I think that's we got.
Sorted that.
I'll leave it at that. Right. Right, is that the end of the evening, Colin?
It can be if there's nothing else. I haven't got anything really for you at the moment.
May I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. You say the next meeting, are we showing our films?
It's a members' night, Jim. So it's really whatever people would like to do. If you would like to show a film, yes.
It's just I don't know how to do it.
Okay. Have you not got share? Have you got a share screen button on your Zoom?
Yeah.
If you press that,
Yeah.
you should come up with desktop. Does it come up with a white background?
Whiteboard, an iPhone, iPad.
Yeah. So what you if you've got a film you can show on your PC, what the best thing is to open the film first of all on your PC, then minimize it, then go to that share screen, and it should be available on that share screen. Have you?
Sorry, can I get into this without being at a meeting?
You can obviously. Have you got a film up that you can show on your PC?
Not at the moment, no. No.
Have you got one on a memory stick or something like that you can plug into it?
I'd have to go into my Pinnacle program to get the
Yeah,
film.
well, you can do it that way as well. Yeah, because you can show your Pinnacle program on it. Can you just for a minute
now,
Jim, for a minute, if you go on, can you minimize your Zoom, not close it, but minimize it, and open Pinnacle on your PC?
Where do I minimize the zoom?
At the top there should be 3 buttons: a red one, a yellow one, and a green one.
Hang on.
In the top left-hand corner.
No.
Well, Jim, if you press,
Zoom.
press share screen.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I've got it. A green one, a red one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to press the red one, closes the Zoom, so you don't want to do that. But if you press the yellow one, it minimizes it.
Got a green one and a blank one.
Green one makes it bigger. The yellow one makes it.
I haven't got a yellow one.
No, I don't think he's got them.
All right.
I haven't got them.
No, I haven't got one.
Well, Jim, if you just press share screen for a moment and see if it works.
Yeah.
Then just press desktop or something like that.
Oh, see, yeah, I've got Pinnacle up. So
All
if I bring the film up ready,
yeah,
I can play it. Can I?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to press it a minute, Jim? Press the Pinnacle.
That's it.
That's it. You're sharing screen.
So we can see what you're seeing now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you see it, Jim. Yeah. That's it. You've done it. All you need to do is show your film then.
So you can. So that's what Dave did the other day when he showed us Pinnacle.
Yeah, we can see you going up and down.
Looking for a specific film.
All right.
We can have this one. Try that one. Oh no. It's oh no, it's there.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes, you can, yeah.
Story of baby.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see all that, Jim? See the baby?
That's my great grandson.
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
looks
Mm.
just like you.
I made this for his mum for Christmas. Shall I stop it? Oops.
Yeah, if you're happy
Yeah.
to.
So that's the way you do it.
Yeah, that's pretty
So if there's
straightforward.
something, if there's something you want to show us, then in a fortnight's time, you can do
Right,
it.
I'll try it because I have a film you might be interested in. We had a day out at the Milestone Museum at Basingstoke.
All right.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I don't know whether you've been there, but it's a fascinating place.
Mm.
And it was, I went with I very kindly got invited with a WI. It was one of the few times spouses are allowed, but we all went up on a coach from New Milton, well, Hornell.
Yeah.
And we had a lovely day out. But,
Mm.
and I made a little film of it.
Okay.
Good.
I'll see if I can play that next time, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Nice to see that. Mm.
Do it. So I'll open that film up, get it up before we come on.
Yeah. It's good to, if you have it ready, then obviously you can go straight into it then.
Yeah, yeah. Smashing. Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
No.
It's fine. That's good.
And obviously, if you've got any questions about Pinnacle or anything like that, you can always do it that way to discuss it with people.
Well, I seem to get on all right with it now. Now my
Good.
engineers sorted it out, but
Yeah.
I must admit I haven't done much filming during this lockdown and everything. It's been too difficult.
Mm.
But I still do a bit of editing, but I'm making a film at the moment using Killian to music of Elton John, singing that from oh blimey,
Not the Lion King.
Lion King, that's it, yeah.
Mm.
That's coming along quite well. I'm quite chuffed
Good.
about
So we look forward to seeing that then.
that. Yeah, well, it's not done yet. Unfortunately, he lives in Hastings, so I don't see.
Right.
I
Mm.
haven't seen him since March.
Mm.
But my son goes down there and he takes me camera down there with him
Okay.
and films him for me.
Mm.
But yeah, oh, I'm looking forward to that then.
Good.
Good.
Okay. So, do you think, Dave, you're recording it? Do you want to see?
Shall I
It
stop?
should. Yeah, I would think so now.